Welcome to episode 57 of the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Sense, and with me today are Bud Wieting, Jeanne Axelrod, Pastor Marc Axelrod, Bud McAtee, and Carolyn McAtee, and we are here to talk about the Voices of Peace Gospel Fest that is happening in Hilbert, August 15th and 16th, and right here in Hilbert. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to get together with friends, family, very family-friendly event to just listen to some real great moving music. And you're all invited to come, and I just thought it would be a good idea to talk to you, everybody here today that's here, about the festival and how it's coming together and what some of the performing acts will be. And so, Bud Wieting, I'm going to turn to you first. From your perspective, with the five of you here, are you representing everything that needs to be done, or is there a lot more going on besides just the things that you guys are doing?
There is a lot of things going on. Everybody carries a piece of it that's on the committee. We have probably about 25 to 30 people that serve on the committee.
So it's a much larger operation than people might think, too, from what they see, because to come off flawlessly, there's a lot of things that go on, correct?
Correct. And there's a lot of things that go on at the same time. Bud and Carolyn pretty much schedule all the bands. They book all the bands.
Advertising.
They do the advertising. That's something that, the committee really, they're part of the committee, but they handle that. That's their forte on that, as well as performing at the fest. Pastor Marc does a lot of the emceeing. Myself and Jeff, we kind of go wherever we're needed. We run security, grounds. We make sure that the golf cart drivers, they're there where they have to be. We make sure that the fish fry starts at the correct time. We make sure that a lot of the pieces of the puzzle get put in place. And then we handle the emergencies too.
Okay. So you're with grounds, and you've got the fish fry and all that. What are the things that need to come together between now and the event itself that you are still on your radar that have to be taken care of?
The food for the entire weekend needs to be picked up yet, and there's a crew that somebody coordinates the fish frying, somebody coordinates the breading of the fish, somebody coordinates the ordering, the process where they order the fish. And typically when they go down the line, they'll order the fish, and by the time they get to the other end of the building, their order is there for them. Mm-hmm. So, it's typically, we typically do about 600 to 700 fish fries in about an hour and a half.
Wow. Okay.
I would just like to add that it wasn't like that on the first one.
Okay, Jeanne, tell us a little bit of the stories there, Jeanne, that you're
We have
referencing
learned
here.
a lot as far as the best way to be set up, and so they don't have to wait for a long time. Even now, we've changed for this year. We've changed again where they're going to order, and then it might not be quite as ready because it's a shorter walk for them to get to pick up their fish.
It used to take like a half hour, 45 minutes when we first started to get the fish. Now, like they said, you order and you pick it up.
When we first started frying the fish, we had 6 guys back there with turkey fryers. And you could not regulate the temperature. You could not fry this fish fast enough, let alone with the French fries and everything else. Over the years, we've purchased our own restaurant-grade deep fryers. Mm-hmm. And so, a good example, we're safety-minded as well. There's one fryer that does nothing but French fries because you don't want the fish for somebody that might be allergic to fish. We have one deep fryer that does nothing but shrimp because of the shellfish allergies. So, and the rest of them, the haddock and the perch, get fried in the other fryers. But we've got it down to a bit of a science, and it rolls along fairly smoothly.
So thousands and thousands of orders have gotten you to the point where you're very much the expert at doing this type of process.
The team is.
Yeah, because we meet again after and say what,
Yeah, we always meet for a debrief after the fest is over, and we figure out what went right, what went wrong. A good example of that is over the last few years, the village of Hilbert had re-sided all of their buildings, and the pavilion they re-sided with steel siding. And the last 2 years, we no longer had a door to come in on the one end of the pavilion, so we could get to the freezers. Last year, we ended up with a rain day, and the rain caused everybody to go into the pavilion, which meant we had no access to the freezers without asking people to step aside, or we had to make a walkway. So Jeff and I approached the village right after the fest and after our debrief, and we requested a door to be placed into the end of the pavilion so that the cooks could all get to the freezers and get what they need, and then get back to the fryers or into the prep area for the food. Mm-hmm. And the village said, well, we don't have it in the budget. So we went out and we had somebody who was a generous donor last year. They gave us, what was it, $580 toward the fest. And we put another $150 to it. And the village said they would pick up whatever was left to put the door in. And the door went in, and a memorial plaque is going to go on the door in honor of the guy that donated the money. So,
Hilbert has always been gracious to us. If we need something, they've always helped out with the parking, for the bands and the campers.
They even upgraded the electrical so that the bands could.
They even upgraded the stage. I bet you it's double the size of what it originally was.
Well, that's interesting, the stage area, the size differential from when you first started. Bud and Carolyn, this question I guess is to both of you. As for the performers, and I would argue the lead performers of the event, what have you seen as far as the level of musicians and talent over the years, and to where you started and to where you are today?
It's been amazing how the Lord has provided these groups to come, because a lot of these are on the Christian national charts. And these groups ask for nothing, and we don't promise them anything because we don't know about the weather or anything. They said, we're not here for the money, we're here to minister, which I think is very unique in some of these groups, because you look like at Blake and Jenna Bowlerjack. They go to Germany and other mission fields. They go into the Chitons. I always call them, they play with the big dogs, the high-end gospel groups. This year we have a group coming from Jamaica, the Foster Triplets. We've never met them before, but the Chitons recommended them, and the Chitons played the steel drums. It's amazing.
They're amazing.
Didn't they have some cruises together?
Yes, the Chitons, they put together a Christian cruise, and I think Blake and Jenna do. We have the Don Shire from Virginia, who's traveled the world. He's a musicianary. And our favorite family, the Garms family. We started with them when, what was the youngest one, his name?
Probably 11,
Caleb. When he was just a little punk, and now he's 20-some years old. So, I mean, we've grown up with some of these groups.
And what has gotten easier as far as putting all this together from your perspectives, as far as arranging for the talent to come in and perform? Or what's still difficult for you to
Difficulty is, well, like Bud and I have to raise like $5,000 to $6,000 to pay for all the advertising and everything else, and we understand it. To get the sponsors for it, it's only like $100 ad, but you need a lot of $100 ads to come up with that amount of money. And we do know that with the hard times, and we hate asking for money. But that, to me, that is the hardest part. Putting this all together is kind of fun. But the groups, they know us, or they're contacting us, and we have agents that are calling us, say, do you have a group that could come here? And I thought, I'm not a booking agent, but this is what I would recommend. And so it's kind of fun in that part.
I think the funnest part is going to the churches. We have over 850 churches we visit. But to go into the different churches and talk to the different denominations and tell them about the Gospel Fest. Oh, they recognize me as I come in now. That's kind of fun.
But this year we went a different road. Instead of we put on almost 4,000 miles last year, just delivering the flyers, putting up the banners and taking them down. This year we've mailed out like 800 flyers to different churches and stuff, and we contacted over 1,300 contacts that we had with the mail outs and stop-in places that we go to. So it's highly advertised. And the radio stations.
It's a lot different than Gospel Fest 1 where
Oh,
it was word of mouth and we met in their backyard.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've gone from a backyard to the largest park in Hilbert, and you said they've expanded the stage. What other things have developed from the backyard all the way to where you're at now? Things that you've noticed that have...
just the people volunteering, because people are a little sketchy, like, oh, this church is putting it on, we don't do that type. Where we had a testimony yesterday, a lady called me and she approached some people at the park and she says, asked them how they liked it. They said, we were a little nervous about coming here because we aren't into this. But they said, sitting here these 2 days is the most pleasant experience we've had. It's so calming, so soothing, and so ministering. Mm-hmm. And I thought, thank you for that testimony. We love to share that type of stuff.
Gospel music is a form of sharing the gospel, obviously, but it's also entertaining music for folks. And what would you say to folks that maybe aren't into the gospel message so much, but what about the music? Would you encourage them to come on out and take a listen too?
It's quality. It's real good music.
It is quality music.
And you can eat some fish, have a nice dinner, and be in a real safe environment. And
because of our security.
Yeah. I had a friend a couple of years ago at a fest, and she had gone to a lot of fests, and she said, the only problem with your fest is I always go to the bathroom when the bad group is on, and you don't have any bad groups.
So, Jeannie, you're telling everybody that there are no bad groups, so go to the bathroom before you come to the event. That's good warning for everybody out there listening. So, Jeannie, from your perspective, what do you find the most enjoyable part of being part of the committee that puts on this event every year?
I just think our working together. I mean, in a group, there's always people with different ideas, but I think we really show the grace of God in that there, whatever it is, we can work through that, and we still have the goal of having a good fest with to bless people. It's a lot of work, but it is enjoyable work. I work usually in the beverage stand with the youth group, and it's just fun to see them. We had one little girl; she was just like ordering up, See, sometimes I said to someone, we have to kind of watch them making change, and he said, I was just working at my church, and you need to watch the adults too.
Okay.
So it's all good,
Except for Leo.
Yeah, Leo's got it down.
Leo's got it down. He can figure change in his head. He's welcome.
Nice.
This call.
Yeah. And I just want to say that I think I'm a better Christian today because of how I've been, how people work so hard and are so devoted to caring for others and making a difference in people's lives. And it inspires me. Yeah.
And Mark, I can tell with your voice that obviously you are the MC for the event.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is your role that day or those days, and what kind of things are you responsible for at the event?
I would say I spend part of the time working in the beverage stand,
kids
with hanging out with the kids and filling dessert orders. Sometimes when it's a lull moment and there's not as many people waiting for desserts, I'll visit the band's tents and introduce myself. Or now I've been to every Gospel Fest 20 years, so now it's just like a family reunion when I go over to the tents and visit the other people. It's so much fun. And then some years, like this year, I'm filling in as an MC for part of the time. And there were other years where I was just in the beverage stand and a little stint in the hamburger stand, maybe helping the kids in the parking lot. A couple of years I did that. I just want to be a blessing as long as I'm not asked to repair or fix anything.
Okay.
It's not my gift.
That's Jeff. Jeff and I did that.
Jeff and Bud do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do have a real blessing this year because one of the youth group members wanted to be an announcer for the beginning of it. And it's so cool to just know she wanted to share her heart with the group.
So what do you all, and I'll open this question to everybody, and listeners, I'll try to interject people's names as they're talking so you know who's saying what, but what are you all, at this point, keep staying awake at night worrying about? Just 3 weeks out from the festival. Bud first, sure. Not Bud the performer, but Bud the guy that does everything around here, so...
I always worry about the ice cream machine staying
Okay,
working.
all right.
He does run the machine.
It is an old machine. Our Kiwanis Club used to have a food stand down at Road America, and when we quit, I bought the machine, and we used it a number of years before I ended up buying it. But it's an old one, and the pressure switches don't work in it anymore, so you really got to be on top of it all the time, and not everybody can do that. I've trained a couple people, and they still, if I wasn't right there running it, and then all of a sudden I get a phone call and say, hey, this isn't working, or that froze up, and then it's major shutdown and try to get it working again. But
What else is keeping y'all up?
Rain.
Rain.
That's the
Okay.
same thing I was thinking.
This is the other Bud, everyone.
Yeah. I mean, there's thousands that do come over 2 days. But to fit thousands into a smaller building, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And the amount of rain we had last year was incredible. Incredible. I think 6 inches or 5 inches.
We think it was stopping, and then it would start right up again.
Yeah, and that's hard to take. All this work and preparation goes in, and then you get rain.
We can control everything, to make decisions except the rain.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lord always provided. We still had a good
Yes.
crowd and still
Oh,
good
yes.
giving.
And
I
the
was
people
amazed.
have been, good, and sometimes they're singing while the bands are setting up before they
Yeah.
can sing.
Yeah, there was one year where the weather looked kind of threatening on a Saturday afternoon. And, I had my cell phone in one hand and emceeing, and trying to do both. And I said, I'm looking at the radar, and it looks like at worst we'll just get a couple squirts and that's it. And everyone cheered and amen. And then right after that, thunder and
They don't let
lightning.
Mark
And it
forecast
started
anymore.
pouring. And I ran from the MC thing back to the beverage stand. And my brother-in-law was there, and he said, don't you ever do that, ever again.
and all the radio stations and TV stations wanted to hire him as their media.
Yeah.
Because he was just as accurate as the guy.
But what's so amazing to see when that happens like that, how everybody grouped together, picked up the poles from the tent for the
Right.
sound person, and took it in within a matter of 10 minutes. We were all set up into
Yeah.
the pavilion. So it's a well-oiled machine. Everybody knows what they're doing. And
Right. And people will help each other
Yep.
come in, which is really nice to see as well.
What I find interesting that wasn't mentioned, that you're staying awake about worrying about? The music.
No.
The music must be that good that you don't have to worry about it.
It is better than that good.
Yeah, okay.
That's
I
excellent.
guess the other thing that I worry about is security, and we've got a group of people that are trained, and we do things there on the grounds to make sure that things are going to run smoothly, they're going to run safely.
Jeff makes sure that when he parks the cars, that there's
Yep.
cars all the way around, so nobody could run through
first.
No, Bud Carolyn, I'm going to ask you, I know there's a lot more that goes into the music than we're kind of talking about today. I don't want people to anybody to think that the music's being taken lightly here. It's not in any way, shape, or form. And I've had the pleasure of hearing you guys perform, and I'm just wondering, how many performances are you guys doing over the course of a year to help promote this event?
Well, wherever we go, when we have a Sunday, to perform, we do talk about it. But now, we had a couple Sundays off, we'll go to visit churches that we aren't performing at, and we ask them if we can come in and do a few songs and talk about Gospel Fest, and most of them are open to do that. So we try to promote it to wherever we go.
So safe to say that most Sundays, if you're not performing prearranged, you're performing to try to get the message out and the word out for the event as well. So that's a pretty busy year
We just
for you.
bust into a church and say, "Can we sing?"
Yeah, okay.
It's fun doing
So we
that.
schedule them so we get to see them.
Yes, we have to schedule them when we
Your home
want.
church has to schedule them. That's okay. Well, that should, if listeners, if you're paying attention, that should tell you the music's really good then, if they have to be scheduled by their home church even. So
They always wanted us to come once a month, and we said we can't do that because we don't know when a church wants us or needs us, and so we come
Right.
on when we can.
So the groups that are coming, you mentioned somebody from Jamaica and all the other groups in the area that are coming. How does that work? I mean, do they just come for the event and then they leave, or is there anything going on later or before or after the event?
That's what we try to do because the bands don't ask for anything. We try to find them a church service for Sunday morning. You know, there's like 3 sets of groups. We got the high quality, the quality, and then just the
Mom and pop.
type
family.
things. Yeah, and we try to place them into a church where they can, their expenses are covered and stuff. Part of them, yeah.
Like the Garms come around the area for a couple of weeks. And doesn't Don Shire come for 3 months?
I think he's out here right now in this area. So they do try to book, themselves into their different areas when they do come out.
A lot of the bands maybe have not been into Wisconsin. This is the way in.
Okay.
Like
Right.
Blake and Jenna.
Right.
And now they come into the area for a month
Sure,
at a
we
time.
were up in Door County, and the churches had gotten together to have them there.
Yeah.
Last
So they
year.
branched. This is like a jumping board for them,
Right.
that they can spread out then.
Right, they know more churches, and the churches know them.
Well, I thank you all for being part of the podcast today. And I guess I'm going to just wrap this up with just a question for each of you to answer. And that is, what is the one thing that you just love the most about the event? And I'm going to start with you, Bud.
I love that our church family actually gets together and works together to put this fest on. And there's been countless people that are asked the question. He says, "How many churches are putting this on?" And I said, "Just ours." And they're just stunned because they said, "Well, our church could never pull anything like this off." So I mean, it's just amazing to see our church family pull together and make everything work and work together.
Okay.
And it amounts to everything from emptying the waste baskets to cleaning the bathrooms to
emceeing
emceeing
Yeah.
to coordinating the bands to get the lighting. We're quitting a little bit earlier, but we used to put up lights in the park. And
Mosquitoes helped us with
Mosquitoes convinced us.
We used to go till 10, but no more.
Jeannie, what about you? What is the thing you love most about the event?
I was thinking along Bud's line as far as the awe that people have when they hear that it is our church that puts it on. And then just to hear from people who have come year after year and they're so proud that they've come from a distance, and then to see people who have belonged to the church and are out someplace else, but then they come back and you get to visit with them a little bit. So it is like a big family reunion in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Pastor Mark, as the pastor of the congregation, would you mind letting them know what the church is that we're continuing to talk about that's putting this on?
We're Peace Evangelical and Reformed Church at 185 Main Street, Potter, Wisconsin. Non-denominational evangelical Christian church.
And what's the one thing you love most about the whole event, Pastor Mark?
I love it because it's the one event where church members of all ages work together as a family. It's pretty predominant in today's age to kind of segregate you got your youth group grades 9 through 12, and 7 and 8, and we work together seamlessly, fluidly as a family. And probably at other events as well, but you really see it at Gospel Fest where you've got kids running with the fish fry orders back to the fish fry tent, and then you have grade school and junior high and high school kids helping out together in the beverage stand with the adults, and there doesn't seem to be any awkwardness in interaction because of age difference. It really is a family atmosphere. And so often you hear about organizations or churches where 20% of the people do 80% of the work. I would say that's at least flipped at our church,
Yes,
where 80% or more of the people are involved either with the fest or something, another ancillary ministry of the church. So I think I just love the togetherness of all the age groups, and just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And Bud and Carolyn, performers, I'll ask you separately. I'll start with you, Carolyn. What do you love most about the event?
The fest is designed to be a fundraiser for both the church and for us. And again, the working together and the lives that we touch, we get to hear a lot of testimonies, which I wish the church and the people could hear more. We had people that come in that one year he parked beside the road. He could not get out of the car, but he insisted on coming to Gospel Fest and laid in the back of the seat to hear the music. He loved it so much.
To me, the fest is just a taste of heaven. In heaven, yeah. It's where you have worshiping the Lord, and you can see people out there worshiping the Lord, their hands risen. I like it when we can see all of our friends that we've been with, through the decades, and maybe just met, this year. I like that family feeling, the family of God. And, it goes beyond just this church and its denomination and whatever denomination you're in, we're worshiping the Lord. A taste of heaven. It really is a taste of heaven. The food is good. The atmosphere is good. The excitement of worshiping the Lord corporately together in music and seeing the friends along the way in the bands that we worked with. Oh.
And music opens the doors.
It's good.
Well, thank you for that, everyone. And I encourage everybody that's listening and also to tell your friends to come on out on August 15th and 16th. And can you maybe just give me the hours of the actual performances that are happening?
Friday, August 15th from 11 till 7, and Saturday, August 16th from 10 till 7.
All right, so make sure you put it on your calendars, everyone, and come on out and listen to some great music, have some great food, great fellowship, and a great opportunity to get to know some more folks that you might not know right now. So with that, I just want to thank you for listening to episode 57 of the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. If you like what you hear on this episode or on the other 56 episodes that are out there, I would encourage you to reach out, tell someone, share the information that Travel Calumet Original Podcast is available to tell everyone about all the wonderful things happening here in Calumet County. Thanks again for listening.